Hi, my name is Lori Egan, and this is a little video montage of my journey through life. So, my story starts off like every other story. I grow up, I'm a kid, have a mom, a dad, a sister, we live in a house. But it takes an unusual turn right around the time that my sister discovers she really loves speed skating. What came along with my sister's interest in speed skating was her desire to be in the Olympics. We traveled around the country a lot to help her achieve that goal. We took her to all the best places to train where past Olympics had been held, and I remember the first place we ended up moving was Lake Placid, New York. When we first moved to Lake Placid, I was in first grade, and up until then I had been homeschooled because my parents were busy with my sister and her training, either taking her to the gym, taking her to the rink, taking her from the rink to yoga or stretching or the trainer's office or the nutritionist, taking her home so she could take a nap, or working to pay for her training. So they didn't have time to take me to school at the time. So I remember when I first walked into school, it was such a different environment. It was my first time experiencing teachers, interacting with other kids my age, wearing clothes other than my pajamas or a winter coat and boots to school. I was so overwhelmed with both joy and anxiety. Somehow I excelled when I was placed in the school environment. I became more creative, I developed social skills that I lacked from never being around kids my own age, and for once in my life I felt like I was truly a part of something. At the same time, I feared the day that my sister's skills would outgrow the coaches in Lake Placid, and that the whole environment that I had come to know and love would just be taken out of my hands. And after about 6 months, that's when my parents decided that it was best for us to pack all our stuff and move across the country to Salt Lake City, Utah. There's also another Olympic circle in Salt Lake City, Utah, so it was another good place for my sister to be trained. And I just remember thinking when they told me that, like, it's not fair. Everything I had come to know and learn about Lake Placid was getting taken away from me. I began to question whether my family was even taking my feelings into account at all. I couldn't decide whether they were monsters or whether they were just being good parents to my sister. I get it, they were helping my sister achieve her goal, but what about my goals? I just wanted to be a normal kid for once instead of being like the weird homeschool girl that gets taken from one state to another and one school to another and doesn't really interact with kids her own age. So I was awkward as a kid because of it. So, to this day, I still see what they did as monstrous because there was absolutely no reason for them to allow me to develop the relationships that I did and then just rip them away from me, because my sister's 1 in a million shot at reaching the Olympic level for speed skating was going to be increased to about 1.5 in a million if we moved.
To this day,
Even
I still
though
see what they did as pretty mean and just inconsiderate, because why would you be so apathetic to your one daughter's feelings just to fuel your other daughter's, goals in life? That's not good parenting, I don't think. But through their monstrous display of apathy toward their lovely second child's feelings, I did learn to adjust more quickly into different environments and accept things that I myself cannot change, which comes to help me later on in my journey.
So right around 3rd grade is when the next pinnacle of my life happens. And this pinnacle actually proves the statement, "In every venture the bold man comes off best, even the wanderer bound from distant shores," to be true. Finally, my sister's skating career had ended, so we went home to good old Jersey. At this time, my parents were getting divorced, so we sold the house that we had in Wayne, and me, my mom, and my sister, we all relocated to New Milford, New Jersey. Because of all the experience I had from moving around from school to school at the time and meeting new people through my sister's skating, being introduced to my dad's colleagues and stuff like that, I understood exactly what I needed to do to make friends at my new school. So on the first day of 3rd grade at my new school, I walked in with confidence. I had a big smile on my face. I had the new My Little Pony t-shirt, the best Webkinz backpack that I could find, and I sat down in an empty seat. This is the moment that I met my best friend, Erin. Meeting Erin changed my life. We've been through so much together that I know she played a huge role in my development into adulthood. Erin was, and still is, my polar opposite in so many ways, but my equal in so many ways as well. Since 3rd grade, Erin has balanced me out and enhanced my strengths, and I know that I do the same for her. If I hadn't walked into the room as confident as can be, Erin may have never spoken to me, and I may have grown into a completely different person. Being the bold wanderer had given me the best friend I could ever ask for. Although Erin did play a key role in my development in New Milford is the place where I grew. There are a lot of people and places there that are special to me, and if I hadn't been bold and met Erin, I would know none of them and appreciate none of them. One of those people being my other best friend, Nancy. So after 6 years of it just being me and Erin, a little Middle Eastern beauty by the name of Nancy Jabber came into the mix. Nancy was half Erin and half me, so naturally we all got along and became the best of friends. Nancy and Erin have shown me what it is to love other people, keep a balance within a relationship, and truly care about another human being. The 3 of us are so different in certain ways that we use our different roles in the group to keep a balance. Erin is the mother figure, always keeping me and Nancy out of trouble. She always keeps it very real and sees the consequence of every move that you make. Nancy is the outgoing one who pushes me and Erin out of our comfort zones at all times. She's also very optimistic. I see myself more as the dreamer and the emotional support. I always try to see the best in everything, but sometimes it's not very realistic. And whenever something's wrong, like let's say a boyfriend breaks up with somebody, I'm always the one that's there. The way that our little trio balances each other out has shown me what every relationship in my life should emulate. Every relationship needs to have a sense of balance, mutual respect, and support. Otherwise, it's not a relationship. The next pinnacle moment in my life, I have had the pleasure of experiencing not once, but 2 times. There were 2 separate times in my life that I became an older sister. The day that I met my stepfamily and the day that my biological baby sister was born. So the day I met my stepfamily was not one of the stereotypical ABC family type of moments where we all hugged and accepted each other and held each other's hands. No. I didn't speak one word the whole day, and I was really angry at my dad for bringing me along. I just didn't understand how and why he expected me to accept these strange people as my own siblings. How did that make any sense at all? So for years, I just refused to accept them as anything except the people that lived in my dad's house. Eventually, though, I realized that I was wrong in my thinking and that I did need them. They were my sisters, and I needed to get to know them whether I liked it or not. And because I got to know them, now I have the pleasure of saying that my stepsister Elaine is one of my best friends, and my little stepsister Alice is not a stepsister at all, more like a real sister. But the thing that really brought us close was the day that our little sister was born. My stepsisters are not much younger than me, so it's kind of weird for me to say, like, I'm a big sister, but the 13-year difference between me and my baby sister was a whole different ballgame. I was officially and undoubtedly a big sister. I figure that because I had a little one looking up to me now, I should probably change some of my reckless ways and try to be a really good role model to her. I still struggle sometimes to be a good role model because I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm reckless with my ways, and it's a struggle. But I think that because I've come to accept that, I'm going to be better prepared to be an even better big sister to her. And it's not really an obstacle to be reckless, but rather something that you just have to come to accept to better prepare you for your future. And so I think that because I'm accepting of the fact that I'm reckless, I can help my little sister understand any struggle that she goes through as she gets older. The next big moment in my life was the first day I ever set foot in Hawthorne Gospel Church. Now, believe me, I had no intention of going to church that Thursday night. My sister tricked me into it. And she said, well, I bet you aren't brave enough to try new things that are outside of your comfort zone. So obviously I had to go to the young adults Bible study to prove her wrong. the moment that I set foot in that place, I just remember this anger building up inside of me. I felt like everybody was so ignorant. Christianity made no sense. How could there be some big guy in the sky that knows your past, your present, and your future mistakes and love you unconditionally regardless? I hated it, and I wanted it to end as quickly as it possibly could. But for some reason, in the next week or so, I found myself wanting to go back. And the week after that, I wanted to go back, and the week after that. Eventually, the time came where one of the pastors spoke about forgiveness, and all I can remember about that night is just falling on my knees crying and recognizing the need that I have in my life for God, a God, whatever form that God takes, you know? So God can be interpreted in a lot of different ways for different people, and that's totally cool, but no one can say that they live a life entirely without God. All people need gods, whatever form they take, whether it's art, music, sports, teaching, whatever form. For me, that form is the big guy in the sky kind of idea. Because of my recognition of my need for the gods, I've met some of the best people I'll ever know. Kristen, James, and Amanda are three of my closest friends, and through their actions, their love, their support, and the balance that we share in our relationship, they have not only shown me the love of God in a human form, but they have helped me recognize my need for a God in my life. Period. So after third grade, we just stayed in New Milford. It was nice. I had my friends, I had my school, I had my teachers. I was comfortable and familiar with the area. I was living the life. So after a couple of my reckless decisions, I got in trouble with my parents, and it's a long story that's a little too personal for this presentation, but I ended up having to move to Kinnelon with my dad and my stepfamily. I really felt like this was going to ruin my life. I was moving right before my senior year to a school that I knew nothing about, where I had all these misconceptions about what the people here would be like and how my life would be and how I thought I was going to be miserable. And I knew nobody except David, and even David I just knew from church and passing, like hi and bye. So, I mean, it took about a month for me to finally adjust to the differences between this school and New Milford and make some friends, but now I can say I'm really enjoying it. There's some really cool people at this school, and I feel like my crisis was necessary in order to bring me to the happy place that I'm in now. So again, I'm bringing it back to the point that I don't think that recklessness is something that is an obstacle, but rather I feel like recklessness is something that we have to accept, and it's going to bring us to better places in life, and that's exactly what it did here in Kinnelon for me. So I know that my journey may not have been the most interesting or exciting thing, so I appreciate everybody listening, and the moments that I shared have been some of the biggest moments in my life, and I still see them affecting my life to this day. And I just hope you enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching.